before I get started as well, I'd like to thank Louis and Louisiana Words for getting this event together. Yay!
Yay, Louis!
I'd also like to thank Parleaux Beer Lab for hosting this event. And so I'm going to read 3 excerpts from different stories. Most of my writing tends to deal with trauma and how people deal with trauma, but there's always this sort of underlying optimism in my stories to try to help people who are going through trauma, who are going through difficult times, find a way to be optimistic even in their lowest points. And so one of the things I like to write about is the HIV and AIDS crisis, because I think now that we've come to a point with medicine where HIV is very treatable, people forget about what it was like for those of us who came out, in the late 80s and watched friends get sick and die, and things like that. And so I like to talk about that time and just remember that time. And so this is an excerpt from an unpublished story. It's unpublished because I haven't gotten it where I want it to be. Titled for now, Just One Moment. And to set it up before I do the reading, it is a young man in Atlanta, Georgia, who is having a crisis with crystal meth and HIV and trying to make a plan to go forward with his life. And this starts just after he's told you it is the anniversary of him finding out that he had HIV. Okay, and so this is how it goes. So this is from Just One Moment. But now I'm getting ahead of myself. And if I'm going to tell you the story, I've got to stay focused. So here's the deal. It was March 11th, 1993. That I'm sure. Props to the band 311 for helping me remember that date. So like I said, it was 6 years to the day since I found out I had HIV. And in a few days, I'd find out that I had AIDS, full blown and all. There I stood, half naked in front of my apartment by the Carter Center, just in jeans, throwing my belongings into the back of a dusty green pickup my parents paid for, with pity. Dance music blaring in the background. I knew I looked all bones and angles to the neighbors watching, but I'd just bumped up some crystal and felt muy fabuloso. All I really owned back then were a few days worth of clothes, a sweat-stained mattress, a 3-tubed hookah, and my dog, Puppy. Corny name, right? That's okay. I was dying. His next owner could give him a better name. A certain comfort comes with knowing you won't have to watch your dog grow old and die. A comfort I don't suspect too many 25-year-olds understand. One thing I can say about AIDS, it sure gave me wisdom. Or at least what I traded for wisdom back then. It's not that Puppy wasn't special. He was. But I didn't want to give him a name and claim him. It's almost as sad for a dog to lose an owner as it is for a parent to lose a child. And deep down, I already knew I'd lost the battle. I could feel it inside, on a cellular level. A scratchy tingle flowed through my veins, telling me something just ain't right. It popped out in itchy, bloody welts around my ankles and as a white velvet coating my tongue. I guess subconsciously that's why I planned the trip. Or decided on it, really. Wasn't getting too much planning involved, just an epiphany after 2 hours of getting high on Tina and pointlessly yanking myself raw, looking into my own restless eyes in the bathroom mirror. Now let me tell you, my bathroom was some fucking thing else. I'd slathered high-gloss royal blue paint all over the walls and covered them with almost a dozen street signs I'd stolen one night. I was high, pot high, not crystal high that night. I recall speed bump, obviously, speed hump, copacetically, stop, ironically, yield, also ironically, pedestrian crossing or ped zing, Schrodinger cattingly, and caution when crossing, favoritely. Some other songs hung on the walls, street names and whatnot, but I can't fish them out of my memory the same. Since the bathroom was only 6 foot by 4 foot, you can imagine how crazy it looked. I loved it. Puppy did too. In any case, there I stood, tweaked out and jerking my dead cock, staring at my own eyes, hoping to grok with another Mason in another reality, A Mason who didn't get fucked in a bar bathroom bareback visiting home freshman year. A Mason who finished his chemical engineering degree at Georgia Tech. A Mason who never yelled at his sister, "I can't just abort it away like you did." A Mason who'd fall in love and find a husband. A Mason who gave his dog a name. I just needed to get high enough to transcend reality and connect with that Mason through the wormhole mirror, I'd be gone. I'd be gone to one of those worlds promised to me from sci-fi and quantum equations. All I needed was street signs. Yes, street signs. If I could borrow my roommate's camera, I could take Puppy and drive around the country taking pictures of cool road signs. And I could make a coffee table book and make money, so I didn't have to keep begging my sister behind my parents' backs because their pity had turned to shame. And really, I don't think they wanted to see me like this, not like some sinful, sick faggot who couldn't keep his dick in his pants. And if I had money from the coffee table book with the pictures of the road signs and maybe a cute caption by each one and on the back a picture of me and Puppy, I could finally be whole again. And maybe if I had more money, I could really strike a bargain with the little AIDS in my blood and they'd chill out for a while. Because you'd think they'd realize that if I die, they die. And who really wants to die? I know I don't, and I can't imagine they do either. So maybe if I just take one more bump, I can figure out where to go. So that was my plan.
What's it called?
Right now it's called Just One Moment.
That's great.
Yeah. So that's my first one.
That was great.